as long as everyone speaks into their snowballs, okay, we won't have an issue. We won't have to redo it.
Love the eye roll, Jen.
All right. Let's get going because Cam wants to bang out 5 podcasts today, so we got to get moving here.
Yeah, gotta go.
All right. Wing It Podcast, goosedigital.com, episode 53. Who do we have?
Robin Kroll.
Jen Pugsley. Again.
All good.
Michael Turksani. Little stepping on toes there. There was an awkward pause.
My fault.
It's an awkward pause.
Should have been me.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, Michael.
Thank you for joining the podcast today. We do have upgraded audio. I think this is the first time Jen's using her upgraded audio, so we're excited about that.
It's not.
It's not the first time. Okay, no problem. We want to talk about exciting times in the insurance industry and the digital marketing that we're seeing in the industry. And we thought a good place to start would be the planning process the planning processes that we've been going through with our clients. And we call it a marketing roadmap, digital marketing roadmap, but it's just sort of being renamed to, a marketing roadmap or a marketing performance plan. Because at the end of the day, the bulk of what's really going on from a marketing perspective is digital anyway. And we've been fairly busy in this area, helping brokers as well as carriers establish plans and dive deeper into kind of holistic strategies and specific strategies, individual strategies. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Okay. So I'm wondering if Chris could kick it off with, what are we seeing out there on the front lines? Why do you kind of see this surge that we've experienced in the last few months?
I think there's a couple of reasons, Mike, why there has been a surge. I think no doubt that because of over the course of the last, 9-10 months, there's been a lot of pressure on brokerages, particularly to attend to their existing customer inquiries. A lot of sort of fatigue around just basically looking after the customer base and looking after them. That maybe a little bit of an eye off of the new business marketing has kind of taken place. So we're customer service, we're typically, sort of contributing to that ongoing sort of conversation about new and new opportunities for new policies. It's really been like just trying to keep up with demand on the customer service side. So that's sort of like after the first 6-8 months, it's like, okay, we got to start getting, opening up the conversations again around new business. How are we going to do that? What kind of resources can we find? What resources do we have internally? Like, how are we going to sort of, turn that on? And so I think that's a part of it, Mike. Another part of it, I think, is there's just such a variety of statuses among insurance providers, whether they're brokers or carriers, in terms of what they have in place to sort of drive those conversations. So we know that there are a lot of insurance products that are being used, some to limited success or limited degree. And there's certainly that sort of discussion around, am I getting the most out of these tools that I've got? Can I be getting
marketing
more
tools?
Marketing tools, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Marketing tools. What am I getting out of these tools that I'm spending money on a monthly or a quarterly basis on? Am I getting what I should be getting out of them? And just sort of like that variety of like where are organizations that are just sort of dipping a toe into marketing, and those that do have a bunch of tools in place, how to and where to sort of apply, new resources to get more out of them. So I think there's a real range of different statuses that insurance providers have out there, and there's no, obviously we've always said there's no one size fits all, but being able to sort of have a fresh pair of eyes on the operation, the marketing, sales, and operational as a whole, and trying to figure out exactly what would be the next stage in driving new conversations around new policies.
I think one of the other things that we're hearing is that, we've been thinking about this for a little while, right? So maybe it's something even pre-COVID they were thinking about. And maybe initially they thought, oh, there's, these one or two projects or campaigns. And then suddenly it's gotten to the point, well, there's more than one or two. Maybe there's a bigger initiative, maybe technology comes into place, and suddenly it's just too much for us to do this ad hoc. We need to have a plan, we need to have a framework, we need to figure out how to actually wrap something around this so that we can go ahead with this cohesive push, and be smarter about it. And that smarter part is, it involves having some help, being able to put everything together.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think, and with, COVID, I think also has played a bit of a role, and maybe in terms of we've all seen the digital transformation, cause of COVID for a lot of these organizations. But I think, that is pretty real in this industry, where email addresses, aren't necessarily where they need to be in a process to communicate with customers digitally, hasn't really been flushed out to a sustainable level, and a more professional level that you might see in industries outside of insurance, where you're keeping up with your lists and you understand deliverability. So I think that's also been a little bit of an impact. Before we get into sort of like the process that we're following, like what are the big things that we're seeing people want to be doing? Maybe like Robin and Jen can talk about some of the specifics that are coming up in these marketing planning sessions.
Well, I think one of them is around sort of a renewed vision, or a slightly different vision of growth. In the past, growth was always equated directly with lead generation, net new business. One of the things that came out during COVID was the importance of engaging with existing customers. So whether they're insured, whether they're brokers, but your existing base, and understanding that there's a need to invest in them, A, from a retention perspective, and B, because there's opportunity to drive additional value from those existing customers. So one of the things that we're seeing is, how do we do that? How do we increase the lifetime value? How do we look for opportunity within a base that we already have a relationship with? And for most of them, we have a way to engage with them.
Yeah.
Jen?
Yeah, I think that Robin definitely for sure on that side. There's this study that was put out that at the average personal lines client shops every 3 years, which I actually thought was kind of crazy. That's kind of your average person, not somebody who's kind of high risk or always kind of looking to chase a price. So definitely new ways of growth. I think we're seeing a lot of inquiries around expanding reach. So kind of going to what you're saying, Robin, expanding reach within our existing book, but also expanding reach on the communication side of things. So sometimes it's not that easy to, get into your book and make 40 phone calls a week, and on a very manual kind of foot way. So that's another big one, is expanding reach on the growth side.
Yeah. I'll throw in a couple more. Another one is on the lead side, because there's now an understanding that Leads are not as easy as, driving them to your website, having them go through an automated quote and bind engine, and suddenly, you've got new business.
Mm-hmm.
Lead management, lead nurturing has started to surface to the top as well as being another area of importance, and CRM. And I think we've talked about this on the podcast before, understanding that insurance providers need a platform where it's easy for them to track and engage what's going on from both the sales and marketing perspective from their customers. So that's just two other things that I'm also hearing a lot.
So there's a general, I guess maybe you'd say like a general maturing, or the types of planning sessions that we're being brought into now. There are ways in there. In some cases, they might still be digital beginners, but they may have already executed once around a plan. They've got some level of KPIs, and they're really maturing their outlook. I mean, some of these organizations are, not very big. They're the average broker. Maybe slightly bigger than the average broker type environment. Some of them are not that big. Like, I think, Chris, you're into some that are what level of gross written are you seeing?
Like mid-teens, like,
Yeah,
14 and gross written.
So those organizations are smaller, but they're looking to sort of make an impact, and they've pulled a lot of these elements together and are looking to sort of ante up. In other cases, they're larger organizations, but a general maturing of these programs, to your point, around not just CRM and the technology, but how they're using it, like lead nurturing. I know there's an upcoming webinar that we're going to do on the lead nurturing. So that kind of leads us into, maybe if we could just describe a little bit about what is the planning process. I know, Robin, we're doing sort of two streams. The standard stream that we've always had in our roster has been kind of the complete picture of pulling all your digital marketing and that together. I want you to talk about how that one works. But we're also seeing some that are more specific. So maybe we can talk about that one next, and maybe have Jen weigh in a little bit on that as well. But why don't you step through the process? Like, when you talk about putting together, a roadmap, a digital marketing roadmap, a marketing roadmap, a performance marketing plan, what are we talking about here?
Sure. So just from the high level process perspective, we've divided it up into 4 different steps. The first step is we have a half-day strategy session with the key stakeholders at the insurance provider. So we've got the sales team, the marketing team in there. We'll really have the senior leadership. So people have visibility on what's happening in the business right now and the areas for potential growth. We've developed a questionnaire or assessment that we walk through. That allows us to make sure that we really cover all the key areas of marketing initiatives that are in place or sort of are in scope. We understand more about the coverages, the policyholders, any of the digital tactics or tools that are in place, who have been tried in the past, and also understanding the resources that would be involved in the project. That discovery session, we come away with it with a pretty good understanding of what and how and where the business wants to grow. We then go ahead and build out the roadmap in a couple of different points. So we want to make sure we have a clear understanding of what's happening at the business, and we like to check back with them and say, this is what we understand from what we're really trying to achieve. It allows us to do this rolled up, feeding back, checking the boxes, saying, yeah, this is really what we're trying to do. We share some insights. The insights are based on what we hear from the insurance providers, but also what we understand from the industry and things that we are doing for our existing clients. So we like to share some of those high-level insights, and then we go ahead and we build out a customized plan. And I know we're going to talk about that in a lot more detail in a couple of moments, but we have a framework for that customized plan, which really aligns with the marketing funnel. It touches on strategy. It touches on initiatives, campaigns, and metrics. So really all the key things that at the end of this roadmap review, which we go through with the client, they have a really clear plan of the types of campaigns, where that would occur in about a 12 to 18 month process, and what they can expect from a relationship with Goose.
Yeah.
Or really executing that roadmap internally, even.
Yes.
Internally,
or
exactly.
other agencies,
So
right?
with us or internally, and you're right. Sometimes there might be pieces of that roadmap that say, you know what, we can handle that piece,
Mhm.
or we're working with a branding agency, they can handle that piece, or we might take it all on our own.
Yeah. Exactly. It's the more parties at the table to address, and tackle the plan, the better. I think, Robin, you touched on it. I think one of the things that are unique about our roadmaps, just compared to some other ones I've seen in the industry, we really look at it from, the tactics that are best going to suit the plan. So if Facebook's not a role that's going to get us there in the first 90 days, then we might leave Facebook to later, or a specific strategy within Facebook. So we're not really asking, and there's different sizes of, obviously, brokerages that fit into this model. But if you're a smaller brokerage and you don't really know any of those things, but you've heard some things, and should we be doing this? The roadmap is really designed to come out with an actionable plan for those best things in the first 12 to 18 months. So it's not high level where you're getting this thing and you don't know what to do. In fact, it's very, very tactical that, like, Michael said, you could, if you had an internal team, they would finally know what to do and what to action. Our team, if you were to hire a partner like Goose, it's the same thing with our team. Our team would know exactly what to wire up, what are we building in the platform, what are the priority builds in the platform. And it's just a lot more seamless, if you will, coming into the in-life department.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I was gonna say that there's just, not to belabor the point of like all these different, we find and engage with different sort of cultures of brokerages. In some cases, we've been sitting at a virtual table with like up to like 8 or 9 people. And the reason for that is that that particular brokerage has that culture where everybody's included, everybody's involved, which is great. It adds, I think, a little bit of a challenge in terms of just sort of keeping things really on track. And we're always wanting to have feedback from all levels of the organization if we can. But if we're in one of those situations where we're on the horn with producers and with customer service and with finance and sort of getting the whole picture up on the table, that really helps us to kind of have a complete sort of front to back type plan. Sometimes we're in that sort of conversation where, okay, we'd like to know how to add marketing to our overall operation, because there isn't any specific marketing right now. We've got producers, we've got customer service, and we need to add that digital marketing piece. Great. So that is, that's another, type of scenario. In some, an organization has a CRM. They've been working with a CRM for a really long time. They've got that fully integrated into their operation and it's working extremely well, but they're looking to improve some of the metrics. How are they going to sort of improve that velocity within the funnel? How are they going to be able to continue to predict what's coming in the way of new business? So that's another sort of complexity. So the point is that, while there are insure techs out there that have specific things that they can provide, and they provide good value as individual things, the approach that we have is there's all these tools out there, okay? There's InsurTech tools, there's CRM tools, there's marketing automation tools. All of these things pull together depending on where that insurance broker is in their journey to deliver better value. And our job is to figure out, okay, so where are you now? Where is it that you want to be? What are the pieces that we need to sort of focus on and zero in on to help sort of get there? So every one of them has their own, it's a new game each time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that's a good segue into kind of how we're doing that. And I think we've been talking more about marketing performance. And I think that's kind of where you were going, Chris, in terms of like, there's a number of cases where there's things in place to some degree, and they're now looking at, well, reevaluating kind of them at a high level. So it's become, over the last 2 years, less about, a net new thing. And there's still a lot of that out there, but a net new thing to saying like, you know what, we have been doing this, doing some stuff, let's say on Facebook or on Google or wherever in our email. And now we're kind of taking a step back because we're not sure if it's like actually performing, right? Or how can we increase it? We don't even know what necessarily the performance really is. And that's a data and that's a measurement. And then how could we actually improve the performance? So that's something where we're, as a business, pivoting our messaging a little bit into marketing performance. And it's sort of a different take, and we won't go into like all that today. But one of the things that we've introduced to this process more recently, Robin, and I'll let you kick this off, is that we're using kind of a standard digital marketing funnel to map the strategies and the tactics into a broker or an insurance provider. So we're helping raise their kind of overall maturity of how they would look at these strategies and put them in context of the funnel. So why don't you talk about that and why that is important?
Sure. It's interesting when we ask, the clients, do they, have they seen a marketing funnel before? They they using that kind of a framework. And for so many of them, that's actually really new. The idea of the marketing funnel is that it addresses really all levels of marketing that a company can be engaging with, like driving brand awareness, something that we call air cover. So, somebody that might not be targeted, what is their first perception of your business, and on what platforms are they seeing it? We talk about top of funnel, driving initial interest. So the first time, a brand new lead is going to even see your brand and learn about your products. Then we talk about middle of funnel, and that's where that nurturing comes in. So while they might have an idea of lead management or lead nurturing, probably wouldn't put it into the context of, oh, that's in the middle of the funnel. And because of that, there are specific tactics and ways that you can help increase and nurture that communication. And then the bottom of the funnel sales. So we know that, all these insurance providers, yes, they're focused on sales, but what are the different opportunities they can take to make sure that they are engaging with customers and closing on the sale? So what are some of the digital tools that they can use? And then the customer marketing, where you're looking at things like growth, so cross-sell, improving retention rates, doing renewals, anything you're doing to engage with the existing customer. So when we go through this digital funnel, we see a lot of those virtual heads nodding, because this all makes sense, but it's never been used as a framework or a process to guide their marketing. And so when we make the recommendations, and Chris, to your point before, these recommendations are going to be very customized, because the insurance provider is going to be, they're all going to be at slightly different stages. So all those recommendations, they're going to slot into one of those 5 stages within the funnel, but they're going to be prioritized or aligned to what that particular provider wants to do. And so those it's going to be a series of recommendations with a campaign, specific tactics and channels. And once you put those all together along with a visual, so they can actually see, oh, this is how it would actually look. This is what a Facebook ad would look like. It starts to resonate and make sense. And that's the difference, Jen, to your point, is talking about something that's just a plan, as opposed to putting something to a context that you can visually be able to digest that and say, okay, I can actually understand how this would work. Maybe not the underpinnings in the back, but I know there are people out there who do that, but I can understand how that would work to help grow my business along these particular areas.
But I think sorry, Jen.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to add something in before, maybe this will help like your next piece too, is that I think in addition to, your explanation, Robin, of kind of how, why we're using it, the other key piece is that, we didn't invent the marketing funnel, and these tactics are really have these stages of the funnel have tactics and objectives for that stage, and as a result have certain measurables for that stage. So when you're looking at increasing your brand awareness, there's not a line item there necessarily typically that would talk about new sales, right? Like you're looking at things like impressions and views and getting eyeballs on your brand. So we're able to help the business understand why you need these things. So the immediate reaction is put something out there. We want to drive sales right at the bottom of the funnel. Where it's like, that's great too. And once you establish, those creaming off the top, your keywords, whatever those strategies could be from performance marketing, don't forget about these other things. Don't forget about needing to drive brand awareness and what that would look like and having a budget associated with it. Right.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to talk about the air cover on the brand awareness, and I think too. I see this with a lot of the larger organizations that even though they have marketing backgrounds, they all went to university, they're very well aware of the funnel, like a traditional marketing funnel. It's still really hard to plan. I find it a gap that we still can't plan campaigns within the funnel. And when you start to look at every single initiative in the funnel, it becomes kind of light bulbs are going off everywhere to really understand, even if it is starting up here with air cover, maybe it's a theme, maybe it's a new theme you do once every year, and there are sales associated with it. You really understand what are the components between creative, data, deployment, what is the drip going to look like, all of those, even incentives, to really piece together a better outcome. Whereas if you kind of miss pieces in here, it's like, oh, well, wait a minute, 30% of our data.
No.
I think she was saying the word data.
This up, right? Yeah. Oh, did I cut out?
You cut out for a little bit,
right.
but we thought
you got what I meant, right?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay.
So we've added the funnel. We're mapping tactics. That was the big kind of the big component of the adjustment to the plan. And I think it's pretty obvious that a lot of organizations, regardless of who they are, typically will want to move to sort of like what's the outcome that is the biggest impact to the business, right? I mean, carriers and brands, it's typically more challenging for them to directly link to revenue, right? But they'll certainly want to do that, and then the brokers will absolutely want to be finding initiatives and strategies that move more premium, and that's good. That's 100% there. But these layers, they all play a role, and you want to make sure that you're maximizing your lead generation and your dollars from within. So I think that's probably a pretty good place to go. If you don't have a marketing roadmap, Chris O'Neill, give everyone your email address.
Yeah, Chris
Sales
O'Neill.
at goosedigital.com.
You could go chris.o'neill@goosedigital.com. You could come to our website and start a chat. I'm right on there ready to pick up a conversation. You can phone me. No. So I guess the point is that wherever you are in your marketing program, whether you haven't started one, whether you've got some pieces in place and you're looking to sort of shape up what these next 6 to 12 to 18 months are for you, want to sort of review what it is that you're currently generating from those efforts and want to sort of look at upticking that a little bit. These are all things that are potential outcomes of a roadmap process with us. And I guess our key thing is all about, where are you and where is it that you want to go?
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Till next time.
Peace.
Bye.